Eagles head coach Casey Childs joined me. I appreciate you taking some time, Coach. I know not the way this team wanted to start 0-1, but taking maybe the scoreboard away from it. I know you have a lot of youth on this team, and you mentioned some first-time varsity starters. Just eliminating the scoreboard, what positives did you see tonight, and what do you hope those first-year starters will take away from this game to improve in this very long season?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no secret. You know, we returned one starter on both sides of the ball, and he's actually playing a new position on both sides of the ball. So really 22 new starters and 6 or 7 sophomores are on both sides of the ball. So, and all of those guys, they never touched the field on a Friday night last year. They were playing JVs on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, whatever the case may be. So this was their first time, under the proverbial, Friday night lights. So, and it's obviously a tough opponent when you're playing, a 4A school. And James Wood has some big kids, man. They were strong, they're physical. And they just out-physical us. I wouldn't say they out-athleted, they just out-physical us. They ran through us a little bit or a lot. And then I thought at times, man, we did a good job our starting blocks. We just didn't maintain blocks. And against teams like this, you got to stay on people. And we didn't do that very well. But I thought our energy was great. I thought the first half we played about as hard as we could play, and we kept ourselves in the game. We had the interception early, and then we had a good drive down there and get a field goal out of it. But we weren't able to continue to keep any kind of momentum. And in the second half, it got out of hand, obviously, because we started getting some cramps, and we had a couple, and then Joseph went down with both quads cramping. So the one kid that really had as a starter, he was missed pretty much the whole fourth quarter. And so obviously it spiraled. But to our kids' credit, they were being coached up the whole time. They were fine about it. There was no pouting, any of that kind of stuff. So like I told them, and like I told the Star, and we're going to get better. We're going to get better every week. And then when you're seeing all these new kids like that, they need time, they need experience, and they're going to get it. I mean, so with all that said, it's one of these games that you want to wipe it, come on Monday and let's get ready for Fort Defiance and see what happens.
You mentioned the drive early in the first half. I know James would have had a penalty setting you up in good field position, not able to capitalize with a touchdown there. But your offense did show some movement there. I imagine that's one positive that you can look at from the game, that you can work on different aspects of what you saw to maybe get them better come next week.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like twofold. We would make initial good contact, and then we just wouldn't stay, or we wouldn't drive our feet. And then when somebody's bigger and stronger than you, they would spin off or cross face. And then, which is common for young backs, especially in our single wing, that they get real antsy and they cut up before the hole. And then when you do that, you don't trust where it's at. The next thing you know, you're going to where all the guys are, not where the blocking is. And so that happened a few times as well. But those are things, man, that it will come with time. It'll come with time. And I'll say this. I thought Grady Farrell ran and extremely hard. He's going to be a good player, man. He's, and I thought, the senior Aiden Genda, he kept battling. Those guys kept battling, and I thought Roper did a really job on defense. We didn't tackle very well at all, but he was a bright spot, and a couple times too, we stunted and blitzed, and we were in there, and then all of a sudden you have him at the point of attack, or you have him for a negative loss, and then next thing you know, he'd spurt out. You got to make those tackles. So, but with all that being said, you obviously would have loved to play better and put together a better score, better showing. But like I told the kids, it's just, keep stacking good days. You have to do that, and when you have a good day, you have another good day. Or you have a good day and then you start the practice off and it was good and then it tails off at the end. We got to continuously put good practices together to make sure that we're ready to go on a Friday night. And I'm confident our kids will do that. I mean, we got great kids, and they're going to be good. They are going to be good. They're so young, but they're going to be good. And it's just going to be a wave. And I think everybody needs to ride it. Ride the good waves, and then when the bad things happen, man, try to learn from them and move on and try to get more positives and negatives. And if those things happen, we'll be okay.
Offensively, too, I know you're trying to looked like maybe trick up James Wood's defense, looking at some passes, some not able to get off there. But was that an element you were looking to sort of surprise them with, some throwing there?
Well, I mean, the guys were open. We just couldn't protect long enough to make to fit it up. But and I mean, Genda took some shots too when that was going, but he kept getting up. Man, I'm really proud of that kid. Really proud of him. He could have spit the bit a little bit, and he didn't. And I'm proud of him. And we had, like I said, we had guys open, but you got to be able to protect him long enough to be able to fit it up. But yeah, we're going to throw it. I mean, there's no question. I think it was also one of those games where you're trying to keep the ball away from James Wood as much as possible, because we obviously had a hard time stopping him. So we're trying to get a first down or two, let the clock run, and see if we can sustain the drive. And then if you throw it early, you don't get it, then you sit behind the chains. So we're trying to constantly stay ahead of the chains, and it was a battle all night for sure.
Another positive I saw, Drake had a pretty long field goal there. I know you have a lot of respect for what Drake does, and just that field goal in the energy that came after his field goal as well.
Oh, yeah, he drilled it. It was 40-yarder, I think it was 40 yards. And, I mean, he hit it. I mean, he struck it well, and the protection was good. I mean, he's a good kicker, but we got to be better on our kickoff team. I mean, gosh, I don't think we ever made a tackle on kickoff. The one time they got called back, and then, we didn't stay in our lanes. But Drake's a good specialist, and he does a good job, man. He works at it. He works at his craft every day, and we're fortunate. We have him this year, and we have him for another year.
And you mentioned your team. They fought hard in this game. How huge is that despite the result on the scoreboard? They're looking to fight for you and try to get that victory. I know not the way you wanted, but they're fighting hard for you early on.
I mean, we told the kids, but we're not going to give up on them. We're going to keep fighting with them. So, feed off of us. We will continue to fight, and we're never going to, like I said, we were trying to score the last drive. I mean, there's no question. We're going to continue to fight, and that's the expectation, but like I told the kids, I mean, when you've been as successful as we've been for almost 2 decades, and there's nobody going to feel sorry for us. And that's the thing they need to learn quickly. And it's not their fault. It's just the reality. All the guys that's played before them, older teams and more experienced teams that had already seen varsity guys or varsity time. So when it's their time to come, they're a little bit more ready for it, But that's the nature of the beast, And like I said, tell the kids, some people out there think blood's in the water because we're young, and we pretty much lost over 90% of our team last year. But we're gonna fight, man. We're gonna fight, Kirby, and we're looking forward to getting back in it on Monday and get better quickly.
There you have it from the Eagles head coach, Casey Childs. Really appreciate the time, Coach. Thank you.
Man, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Xavier Price joining me. A huge win, 44-3, the James Wood Colonels over the Clarke County Eagles. I know you scored a couple touchdowns in the game. What worked well offensively? It seemed like it was clicking very well.
I think it was just our chemistry. Practices like we've been doing, just like going over Clarke's defense and stuff. So we like kind of got used to like what they were doing. So it was kind of easy for us to like snap and know what we were gonna do.
And how do you like the offensive line? It looks like, just from what I saw, opened up a lot of holes to make some explosive plays here and there. What did you see and what really stood out to you about what the offensive line could do for you all?
The offensive line was doing great. Like they were getting like opening up the holes, just basically doing whatever like they needed to do on the play to get us yards.
And just a win like this to start the season, I know there's probably some more improvement to come, but it looked like everybody together was working together as one unit. How huge is that to see that in game number 1 of the season?
It's so great because this is just game 1. So like imagine what could happen like game 2 and then all the games after that. So it's just a great feeling to experience and stuff.
Defensively, too, it seemed like it was complementing the offense. They were making some really great plays. What can you say about the defensive side of the football in this game?
Defense, we definitely could have done better. But overall, I mean, it was still good, obviously, because we hold them to 3. But, I mean, there's definitely some stuff we can work on.
Xavier, really appreciate the time with me, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Kaden McCullough, one of the leaders on this team, a big 44-3 victory. Congratulations, first and foremost. What really stood out to you?
I really think our defense stood out to us. Our scout team offense in practice really helped us prepare for what they were going to run, and they did. I'm going to give the credits to them. They did a great job.
I'm not sure if you noticed what I noticed defensively, but no matter how big or how small the play was that the defense made, there was constant energy regardless. How huge is that? What did you see from the defense of that aspect, and how huge is that energy to have in a big game like this?
Yes, sir. We kept the energy rolling, and once we keep that energy rolling, we don't stop. That's just how we go. And so we just kept it rolling. We kept driving forward. We kept pushing them back. We kept making TFLs. And we did a really good job, I think. And that energy really helped us.
And it just offensively, too, it looked like the offensive line was able to create space to make those big explosive plays at times, moving the ball down the field. What did you see offensively out of the team?
I think the line did a great job. They did a great job. They practiced, again, our scout team defense in practice this week. They really showed us some great talent. So we got to practice really well. They really showed us how we were going to do. So I'm going to give the credits again to our scout team offense, our scout team defense.
Absolutely. So, I mean, a game like this, 44-3, I know there are probably some adjustments you can make to get better. But week 1, with the continuity of this team, from what I saw, it looks pretty big so far. And how huge is that in your mind to have that continuity so early on?
Well, we're gonna drive that into next week, and hopefully, and just keep on pushing down the roads. Just going game by game. Every game's a new game. Like this game's over. Now we're focused on next week.
Kaden, congratulations on the win. Really appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Colonels head coach Todd Wilson joining me. 44-3, coach, to open up the season at Clarke County. I know there's probably a lot to be excited about so early on.
Yeah, absolutely. We played pretty well tonight. Obviously, we'll get back and watch the film. I know there's mistakes made, but we're excited about this win for week 1.
And just, we talked, and you mentioned about the returners on your team. What really stood out to you about the core group of your team, the returners and some of the newcomers, to how well did they work together in regular season football?
Yeah, and that's it. We feel confident right now with our depth. We got a lot of guys playing time. Guys in the running back group, they were rotating like every 2-3 plays. Our receiving core rotated in. So the guys know what the standard is now. We were trying to establish, this is going into year 3. Year 1 was about culture and kind of establishing the playbook and getting things done that way. And now you can see the guys are reaping the benefits of all their hard work.
And defensively, too, it just seemed like any play your defense had, whether a 1-yard tackle, a tackle for loss, anything so minor, their energy, they brought it to the field tonight. What can you say about the defense tonight?
Yeah, we had a really good week in practice. The defense played phenomenal. We give a lot of credit to that scout team, scout offense. Gave them a really good look. So yeah, I mean the defense was fired up tonight. They wanted a shutout. You know, the kicker made a heck of a kick. I think it was about a 47-yarder that gave him the 3 points. But other than that, our defense played phenomenal tonight.
And I know Clarke was early on in the game, they were moving the ball down. I believe there was a penalty or something, but it's sort of generating that momentum on their side. What did you sort of see that sort of stopped that momentum in a sense to not allow them to drive down the field as much?
Yeah, just staying calm and collective. Our guys have got a lot of experience. A lot of the guys that are playing right now, I mean, we got some young guys out there. You know, Logan LaFollette as a linebacker, he's played a good bit, but not particularly that position. You know, Jackson Ledford, another linebacker for us. You know, he's a sophomore, but a lot of the other guys around him, you know, they just didn't get rattled, right? So we know teams are going to be able to move the ball occasionally, going to score. Those things are going to happen, but just not getting too rattled in the moment. Just kind of calming down, and we really didn't do anything. We didn't really change anything or have to look at any, you know, audibles, so to speak. But, you know, guys just buckled down and kept them out of the end zone.
Xavier offensively, it looked like he had a pretty big night. Just him and the offense collectively, what really stood out to you?
Yeah, he's an explosive athlete. You know, we want to get the ball in the hands. Like, we know if the ball gets in his hands and a couple other guys, you know, they could take it to distance. But we're happy with you know, picking up chunk yardage as well. But, you know, he's an explosive athlete, and that's what happened. Owen threw a nice pass to him, post route. You know, he caught that one and then had another nice, you know, run. So we feel good with the guys we have out on the edge and in the running back group.
I believe you all were up by a good chunk on Clarke at this time, but going for it on fourth down towards the red zone area. How huge is it you have the confidence in Owen to make that throw for a touchdown on that play, but on fourth down as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we feel confident in our kicker too. Aiden Bell's a heck of a kicker, but we also feel very confident in our guys to make plays. Owen threw a good pass. Xavier ran a great route, you know, touchdown. So we're confident leaving our offense on the field, but if we need to, we'll send a kicker out there to put one through the uprights also.
And the offensive line, too. I mean, just from my vantage point, it looked like they opened up some pretty big holes to make some explosive plays. I know quarterback had a pretty nice run and running back as well. But what can you say about the offensive line that protects it all?
Yeah, they played phenomenal tonight. I mean, run game was there. Pass pro was phenomenal. Owen never really had pressure all night as far as, you know, pocket pressure. But they made some big holes for our running backs. You know, those two guys on the left side, you know, they're really good friends. They were our right side starters last year. We moved them over to the left side. So they've been starters there now for 2 seasons. You know, the guy in the middle, our center, you know, he's the one I was calling about, you know, sort of a question mark kind of guy. Not because he doesn't work hard or anything like that. He's just never played that position. He had really good snaps tonight, and, you know, he played pretty well up front also.
And I know it's still early, week one, but a big win like that, I know your team's going to celebrate, but preparing for the next week with a big win and a lot of positives, how huge is that you can focus on those positives to maybe even fine-tune and refine more going into next week?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll definitely pick this one apart. I mean, it's good tonight. We'll celebrate it tonight, you know, even in the morning, but we know we're moving on to week 2 against Dominion. So we're excited about them, a new opponent on our schedule, and we'll figure out. I mean, we weren't perfect, that's for sure. So we'll figure out what we need to fix, and we'll get back to work next week.
Did you know on this date, I believe 17 years ago was the last time Wood played Clarke County?
I did not, no, but that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I found out that nugget today. Just wanted to share with you, but really appreciate the time. Congratulations on the win, and thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, thank you.